Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. And here is some more James Bond trivia. This time all about Thunderball. Oh, here we go. In the underwater scenes where Bond encounters sharks, Sean Connery was supposed to be protected by clear plastic panels shielding him from the sharks. In close-ups, however, the panels were only extended to about 3 feet in height and sharks could swim over them. As a result, in some scenes, notably during the pool fight at Largo's mansion, Connery got much too close to the real sharks than he wanted. Director Terence Young said in an interview that the scenes used in the movie where Bond reacts to a fight at the approach was in which Connery was acting with genuine terror as a shark on by plastic shielding. I think that must have been a very terrifying experience for Sean Connery with a shark coming towards him. The only Bond movie where we get a glimpse of 00 agents in one shot. They are summoned to M's briefing and 007 is the last to join in. He sits down in the only available chair. He's 7 from the left. One of the other 00s is revealed, however, as they are filmed from behind. This was the most popular Bond movie with paying audiences ranking up 140 million ticket sales. Goldfinger, with 130 million ticket sales, ranks number 2 in popularity. Sean Connery performed the gun barrel sequence for the first time because of 2 new Panavision processes used in the movie. Beginning with this movie, the sequence would be performed by the actor playing Bond in the movie. Well, the first 3 Bond films were, of course, the gun barrel sequence. It was not Sean Connery, but Bob Simmons, the stuntman. The budget for this movie was more than combined budgets of the first 3 Bond movies. The opening main title sequence, title designer Maurice Bender, who of course has not long passed away, filmed swimmers swimming naked in black and white before adding the colour by optical process. The dictionary definition of the word Thunderball is a military term used by US soldiers to describe mushroom clouds seen during the testing the atomic bombs. Hence it was used as a title because this would result of Spectre detonating stolen atomic bombs. In keeping with the name, Domino's clothes are always in black and white. To prevent anyone using the Vulcan bomber mock-up for future filming, the production team blew up the plane with dynamite. Framework was left behind as it's since become a reef. The rocket-propelled jetpack seen in the movie was originally designed and invented by military use, known as a small rocket lift device. The original intention, as it's converted during the 1950s, was for soldiers to be available to improve their agility and depth of field, and available to command terrain by able to jump over in landmarks and waterways. It is rumoured that a Royal Navy engineer approached the producers after this movie's release to ask them how they designed the mini rebreather. Apparently he'd been working on something similar but could not figure it out. He was devastated when the producers told him that their secret, the actors was holding their breath the amount of time they had to breathe underwater in the movie. The character of Count Lippe as a reference to Ian Fleming's old friend from his days as a naval intelligence officer. Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands. Bernhard was born Van Lippe Besfield. He was very pleased by this reference. When Bond and Domino meet underwater and disappear behind a rock, the scene was originally supposed to show Domino's bikini floating out from behind the rock. Producer Albert R. Broccoli vetoed this because he felt it was too suggestive. Claudio Angel heavily accent English was deemed too French thick by the filmmakers. After shooting initial scenes of it was dubbed. Ursula Andress' voice in Doctor No in 1960 was brought back to dub Angel's lines for similar reasons. Alfred Cello Largo had his lines dubbed over by Robert Renton to hide his thick and distinctive Sicilian accent. The line where Fiona Bond's ability to turn women on the side of right and virtue was taken from the of Goldfinger when the dubbed Bond's ability to turn Pussy Galore away from Goldfinger. The girl whom Sean Connery was dancing when Bond was escaping from Fiona also appeared in Casino Royale 2006. Playing poker with Daniel Craig. Martina Braswick recorded an incident involving Sean Connery one time where finished filming for the day and there were hundreds of people milling around on the beach, all roped off watching Sean go to sit in the hairdresser. Are you there? Simply pulled off. Here you are, and then simply pulled off his toupee and threw it to the hairdresser. The hairpiece sailed over like a frisbee, and the hairdresser caught it, and Sean said something like, that's it, I'm off. Everyone just collapsed. It was the funniest thing. Martina Braswick played one of Gypsy Girls in From Russia with Love. In Italian, Disco Volante translates as flying saucer. By the time production in 1965, the popularity of the James Bond film franchise had reached of other espionage movies and television series, as the not to the trend in popular entertainment. During the meeting of the 00 agents in M's office, the plan was originally to have stars of spy-related entertainment appear on their popular characters. Robert Vaughn and David McCullum from The Men from U.N.C.L.E. and James Coburn from Our Man Flint. Largo's two-section yacht, the Disco Volante, was adopted from an hydrofoil vessel called the Flying Fish. It cost $500,000 to acquire from Puerto Rico and transfer to Miami for refitting and refurbishment. There really is an area known as the Golden Grotto in the Bahamas, now the Thunderball Reef. The Golden Grotto sharks that Largo keeps in his swimming pool describes the most dangerous and the most savage shark species of them all. An excellent swimmer, Claudia again did all her own underwater scenes, including a love scene with Sean Connery on the seabed. When he told he would be inside a swimming real shark, Sean Connery was not bloody likely. I bet he must have been terrified swimming with the sharks, and enough to terrify anybody. As overseen by John Stearson, the special effects explosion of the Disco Volante was so powerful it blew out all the windows about 20 to 30 miles away in near Nassau Bay Street. Where the movie's Drunk Canoe Mardi Gras sequence was filmed. Reportedly had not known at the point that strong mix of experimental rocket fuel and in order to create the explosion. Final James Bond movie directed by Terence Young. Stuntman Bill was paid $450 bonus to jump into Largo's shark-infested pool. During the recording of the title song, Thunderball, Sir Tom Jones asked the song's writer what the strikes of Thunderball line meant. The song's composer allegedly replied that he didn't know. Jones nearly fainted after recording the 9-second final high note at the end of recording the song. Yeah, this echoes the story told by Dame Shirley Bassey, who was recording Goldfinger 64 theme. Could only be owed the final note after removing the In North America, this was the second highest grossing movie of 1966. Dr. Zhivago, 1965. The AMC channel decided that as Sean Connery's favourite doing his race Bond respective. Favourite of the movies was From Russia With Love, one of the most critically acclaimed in the film franchise. The gun barrel sequence that opens the movie marks not only for the first time the actor portraying Bond performed the scene, also the first instance in the film franchise where Dot opens up to reveal the first scene in the story. A timely reference to the British Great Train Robbery of 1963 was included into the script in the last minute. The scene can be heard during the Spectre meeting after the opening credits. Goldfinger 1964. Director Guy Hammond was originally offered the directing job by producers Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Broccoli. However, due to fatigue at the time, he felt he could not add anything more and turned it down. He considered himself worn out and creatively drained. Producer Albert R. Broccoli persuaded sued Raquel Welch for the role of Domino after seeing her in the cover of Life magazine. She dropped out to appear in Fantastic Voyage. According to Bond gadget designer Ken Adam, the jetpack that Bond uses to escape his enemies is no special effect, but a real jetpack provided by the US Air Force. Exceedingly, Sean Connery was to fly jetpack without an helmet, and some publicity photos of him the jetpack was made without a helmet. Supervising editor Peter R. Hunt claims that the scene where the dog urinating in the shot during the Jenkinu at around 1 hour and 37 minutes was first left down the cutting room floor. Hearing the footage wasn't that great, however, the producer noticed that the take, as they checked on the delays, enjoyed the shot so much that it did remain in the movie. Also, the parade behind the dog, a group of who arrived filming as part of the parade dressed up as wearing 007 on their hats. Fiona Philip was originally Irish and called Fiona Kelly in the early drafts of the script. The production staff screened The Silent Enemy 1958 several times to gain tips on underwater warfare for this movie. The Silent Enemy dealt with British versus Italian frogmen in the Mediterranean during World War II. In at least 2 shots in the scene where number 1 accuses his underlings of embezzlement, the unnatural eye movements and blinking motions of the actors reveal that the film is actually being run backwards. Some release prints did not show James Bond will be back on a major Secret Service at the end of the credits. Difficulties in scheduling and shooting during winter meant that the movie was postponed. And You Only Live Twice became the next James Bond movie. The situation put forward by supervising editor Peter Hunt was simply to remove the title from the final credits. When Bond and Domino are rescued by the witch at the end of the movie, it was actually by real sea method known as ski honking. This is out of date just today. It's the first Bond movie was released in the US before the UK. The movie From Russia Love are the only Bond movies to use the wipe editing technique to scene transitions. Movie title designer Maurice Bender returned to the franchise, absent from the previous 2 Bond movies From Russia with Love and Goldfinger. Members and cast of crew were interviewed several times about this movie when it was being shot. Due to the immense popularity of the Bond movie franchise, Sean Connery, however, requested to just do 1 interview, and it was with Playboy magazine. Stuntman Bob Simmons appeared to have made a very narrow escape from the car explosion during the stunt during filming at Silverstone racetrack. Director Terence Young raced to the scene, whereupon Simmons surprised him from the other side of the road as the gig. People watching the stunt generally didn't see Simmons exit the vehicle before the explosion. This is the first James Bond movie to be shot in Panavision. A character called Fatima Bush was originally created by Ian Fleming as a double agent. According to Behind the Scenes with Thunderball in 1995, the scene where Bond climbs out of the shark tank right is to run at him, the shark in the question was dead and pulled by a wire. In the trailer for the movie, Bond says the line, "Things I Do for England." The line was cut from the original version of this movie and used next Bond movie, You Only Live Twice. When Spectre divers are retrieving the 2 atomic bombs from the Vulcan bomber, clearly marked on the bombs amongst the technical deities the phrase "handle like eggs." A promotional movie, The Incredible World of James Bond in 1965, was aired on American television 1 month before the release of the movie. The 48-minute documentary aired at 1 hour special included footage from the filming of the Silverstone racetrack and a fight aboard the Disco Valente at Pinewood Studios. Most expensive Bond film budgeted over $200 million, almost double the cost of Goldfinger, while Dr. No only costed £500,000. It was filmed during an 18-week schedule, including 8 weeks location in the Bahamas Almost all the budget was spent on Ken Adams sets and props, including a jet hydrofoil. Most of the underwater scenes had to be done in low tides due to the sharks in the Bering Sea. The first movie in which Bond doesn't smoke, the underwater shield used in the movie was atomic bombs are deployed and later end up on the possession of Kevin McClory after a real-life prop was used on the promotion tours of the movie's release. McClory stored the prop at his villa in the Bahamas. Molly Peters, Patricia Pat-Furling, was the first Bond girl to be seen taking her clothes off on screen, which previous movies only showed Bond's lovers after the fact. Molly strips off the nurse uniform. She and Sean Connery make love in the same room, in the steam room. This is the first James Bond movie to provide two key elements for the franchise success. It was the first the main designer Bender opening title sequence created in the form of which would have become the most famous. It was also used to have the posters which are panic adventure scene. There is a debate over who provides Blofeld's voice in this movie. Some sources say Joseph Wiseman, and other sources give credit to Eric Pullman. In any event, Anthony Dawson, who provided Blofeld's body in from Russell 1960, makes a return appearance. While filming in Paris, Sir Sean Connery took the opportunity to end his first premiere of golfing. While driving down the Champs-Elysees, his Aston Martin DB5 in the ride of a frenzied female fan. Sir Alfred Hitchcock briefly considered directing this movie. According to supervising editor Peter R. Hunt, the movie's release was delayed for 3 months from September until October 1965. After that, he met David of United Artists that convinced him it would be impossible to edit the movie in high enough standard without the extra time. The original draft scripts from the movie did not involve Spectre, but Italian mobsters, the Sicilian Mafia, and was with Largo as a crime boss. The most difficult sequence to film was an underwater action scenes. The first scene shot at a depth of 50 feet, and the scenes where Spectre drivers removing the atomic bombs from the sunken Vulcan bomber. Almost 30 years for the extended soundtrack to this movie to be released. This was because John Barry was still scoring the second half of this movie when the music for the recording of the soundtrack was required. Their Lives was originally chosen to play Largo when Ian Fleming and Kevin McClory first tried to get Bond film franchise up and running in 1959. First appearance in the James Bond film franchise of the shark-infested swimming pool used to a disloyal subordinate who became the basis for Dr. Evil's sharks. The only Bond movie in which Howard R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman are not credited for the work done as producers. They are instead only credited as executive producers. This is the only Eon production James Bond movie to have Kevin McClory charted as producer. Well, of course we know what the problems they had from Kevin McClory with this legal action against Thunderball and Ian Fleming. Producer Albert R. Broccoli originally chose the role for Domino was Julie Christie following a performance in Billy Liar 1963. Upon meeting her, however, he was disappointed by casual appearance and relative modest bosom. Kevin McClory and Jack Whittingham collaborated in 1959 on an original story and screenplay for what would have been the first 007 James Bond Secret Service. McClory reportedly wanted Richard Burton to play James Bond, but reportedly after movie by bombed and Ian Fleming changed his mind and backed out of the partnership. McClory had him previously in the other abandoned Bond spin-off projects. The scene where Count Lippy's car explodes, the stuntman Bob Simmons ignited wads of gas shot to the dashboard switch on cue. Director Terence Young, amidst fears over Simmons' fate to film the car crash explosion through the stuntman seemed to have vanished. Young was revealed to have Simmons re-emerged from behind. Second movie in which Bond drives is Aston Martin, the others being Goldfinger, GoldenEye, and Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Casino Royale. The amount of money spent on the underwater equipment for this movie, including props, cameras, and apparatus, totaled about $92,000. Largo doesn't wear an eye patch in the book, however, his head and hands are large in the book. On arriving in Nassau, the Bahamas, producer McClory searched for possible locations to shoot many of the key sequences of the movie. Faye Dunaway tried out for the role of Domino, but her agent traded her to be happening in 1967. Rick Van Neuter had a contract to appear as Felix Light in the next several Bond movies, but he couldn't figure a way to work the character into either of the next two. The opening sequence in earlier versions of the script was set in Hong Kong. So Tom Jones was the first male singer for the movie's opening sequence, although Matt Monro sang the theme from Russia with Love. His version did not appear during the opening credits. Well, that's the end of more James Bond trivia. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all again in another video.